My name's Jude Robertson and I'm the current artist in residence here at Waharau Regional Park. I'm here to make a sound map or a sonic map. I guess it could be interpreted in lots of different ways. For me, it's the process of mapping and working with different locations within the park that interests me. So I'm interested in atmospheres, very interested in time, so the way that things change over time, and something that's quite layered. So I'm very much interested in creating a really spatially rich map through sound. When it's really calm and there's just this really slight lapping in is really interesting. So when there's sort of more wind and there's a bit more of the, the surf or the whitewash coming in, it creates kind of more background noise rather than the sort of very specific lapping. I call myself an installation artist. I guess that's an umbrella term because I actually work across quite a lot of different media. My background's in sculpture. I also work in photography and in sound. But for this project, sound is my focus. The sort of sounds I'm gathering in the park, obviously dependent on the naturally occurring sounds within the park. I'm more interested in ambient sound than generating my own sounds within the park. And at the moment, that's also a little bit limited by where I can go in the park because there's quite a lot of track closures due to the Kāori dieback disease. But so far, the sounds that I've been working with are quite a big variety of birds. When you hear sounds, on a daily basis, you start to be able to become more familiar with them. So I'm starting to know at least some of who's who in the bird world. I was very lucky. I had maybe almost 2 weeks or a week and a half of beautiful still weather, clear days like this. I couldn't have asked for better. And then the last few days, of which it's been really wild, has actually been really interesting. Not so good for sound, but really amazing photographically, because the combination of light, clouds, water creates really interesting effects in Te Kapa Moana, or the Firth of Thames. And because it is always changing, there's always something new to look at. Yeah. One thing I've noticed here is, there is a lot of bird life and activity. I'm going into the park at different times of day, particularly in the morning, when the birds are active, but there's a lot of different sounds going on, which I find really interesting. We're here in the green track. It's about a 40-minute loop through regenerating bush. And I've been here quite a bit actually, particularly in my first week or so. It's a beautiful area. There's lots of different little nooks and crannies, and it's full of bird life. So I've been doing a bit of recording. So walked up here early and did some dawn chorus, and also been recording a bit at night. So trying to capture the moorpork, which is a little bit trickier because it's very, very unpredictable. So I'm almost at the end of my 5th week into the residency, of an 8-week residency. For the first couple of weeks, I was mainly gathering material, and I was very fortunate in the fact that it was beautiful, still, sunny weather, which meant that I could record pretty much every day. An emerging theme of my soundscape is movement, so natural movements of climatic effects, water, birds and people. So I'm interested in how people are moving through the park. Although I'm very interested in environment, I'm also interested in portraying people embedded in the environment. You know, it's a very interdependent relationship. So after my first couple of weeks gathering sounds, I deliberately started editing, probably earlier than maybe I was quite ready to, but I had gathered a lot of material. Like for example, my kokako recordings, I think I've got an hour and a half just of kokako. You know, that's a lot of material to kind of start wading through, and it's a lot of decision making. You know, I might use very small fragments from a recording. You know, I might use 5 or 10 seconds from what was a 5-minute recording. I mean, sometimes I use much longer strands. I'm very much interested in building up, you know, quite a sonically rich or deep space, so that there might be sounds that are very soft in the background, sounds that are more dominant in the foreground, sounds that you might not necessarily specifically tune in, but change the overall sound. I am hoping to offer a new experience of the park, you know, another perspective. It was really important to the overall work and the finished work that it was actually developed within the environment that I'm making in, because it's really shaped it. And I've made decisions that I think would have been difficult to do without actually being here, given that it's an installation. So I only have a couple of days of my residency left now. It's gone very, very quickly. So the creative process has probably differed from my normal way of working here, partly because I've been able to focus, you know, full time on my creative work, which in the past I'm always juggling things. So I'm sort of necessarily have to step in and out of my creative work. And that, I guess, had both pros and cons actually. So the first few weeks when I was just gathering material, was really exciting, lots of fun and lots of new places to explore. And then it sort of came to a point where I started editing quite early on in the process. I'd gathered quite a lot of material by that stage that it soon could have become a bit overwhelming to start editing further down the track when I had even more material. And it did mean that I spent about a month on the computer editing, and sort of working in isolation can have its challenges. But then a really good thing was that, you know, when I got a kind of a rough draft down, I was able to see what the gaps were, or hear what the gaps were. And because I'm editing on site and still here, I was able to then go out and make more recordings and kind of fill in some of those gaps, which I just wouldn't have been able to do if I'd done all the editing post-residency. So yeah, and just the creative opportunities I think that unfold when you're connected with a space for a more extended time. So, you know, normally I would visit a national park or a particular area that, you know, it might only be for a couple of days. If I was on a recording trip, you know, it would be quite a fast trip. So to have that extended time, and that's definitely meant things have unfolded in a way, and I've been able to sort of follow possibilities that just wouldn't happen otherwise. And that's really, really exciting.